2026. Regular school board meeting. Can everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence, please? Lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please be seated. All right, on the certification of closed sessions, Ms. Christ, can I get a certification of closed session? Yes.
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 Dr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Riddles?
Yes.
All right, Dr. Gress, is there any actions coming out of closed session? On to adoption of the agenda. Entertain a motion for adoption of the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move we adopt the agenda as presented, but with an addition of, under action items, I'd like to add 12B, approval of the VSBA membership invoice.
Do I have a second? Approval of the agenda with those amendments to the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. Is there any further discussion about the agenda? All right. All those in favor of approving of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We have agenda. On to the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve of consent agenda. Yeah, do we want to? Yeah, does anybody want to pull anything, or do we want to keep it as is? We do have a field trip. Everybody had a chance to look at the consent agenda. I'll entertain a second.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the consent agenda, including approval of personnel recommendations as discussed.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda as discussed, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. We have a consent agenda. On the 7 delegations, Mr. Bauer.
Mr. Bauer, we're very thankful to have Mr. Bauer with us. He's going to go over in detail some of the work related to the Abrams renovation. If there are any questions that board members have, I encourage you to ask him. I guess that's all I really need to say. Josh, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Floor is yours.
Thank you. I believe that we are in fantastic shape, and I have good news for this evening. If you remember at the last meeting, we had received one proposal from one contractor, and we still had other gaps of information. The good news is that we did receive another proposal, interestingly enough, from the same contractor. What we have in front of you tonight is basically 2 work order packages. Package 1 is for HVAC low voltage in the classrooms. And then package 2 is for the lobby and the toilet rooms. The total of that is roughly $1,387,529.50, which is within our project budget that we have. We did receive other proposals, and this proposal package is roughly $30,000 less than the other proposals. So I would highly recommend. The other positive of this is not only is it less, but instead of it being 2 different general contractors working on the same project site, it would be 1 general contractor who's going to oversee both of the proposals. And it's because of the drawboard and contract, we are limited to $1 million per contract. That is why we actually separate this out in 2 different pieces. The package that you have in front of you includes the floor plans showing the area of demolition and renovation of the interior pieces, along with the extent of this phase 1. And again, we have, since the inception of this project, not been able to do the entire building. So this is This is more than 50% of the building is going to be addressed, including the lobby, reception area, 6 toilet rooms. There'll be 4 toilet rooms for students and 2 for staff, and then the 5 classrooms. So the biggest positive is going to take 3 classrooms and turn it into 5. And also the classrooms will have new interior finishes, and will all be conditioned. So they'll have proper heating and cooling. So the contracting agency that we're working with is Gordian, and the general contractor for both the proposal 1 and proposal 2 is S-Works. From a construction standpoint, they are ready to start tomorrow if we're able to move forward this evening. Their intent is to be completed by the end of the summer. If work continues, so example, if we are not able to finish 100% before the end of the summer, they will shift to after hours and weekend work. So we will not be doing construction work during the school day, and they will continue until the work is completed. But their intent is to have us have occupancy of the 5 classrooms, the reception area, and at least 2 toilets by the end of the summer, if not all of the toilets. Their hope is to get it all done. Their incentive is to be done and not to have to work evenings and weekends as we go into the school year. But their plan is to not do construction work during the day in an urban educational program.
Mr. Bauer, go ahead.
I was saying, so you're saying if approved tonight, it will be done before the first day of school?
That is the goal, yes. But if they do have pieces of construction work after that, it'll be all done in the evenings and on the weekends, and there will be no work during the school day as far as construction goes. The challenges we have abatement. We do have some hazardous materials that we have to remove. There are some timeline. We can't do any other work while that work is being done, and the ordering of materials. So again, their goal and their incentive is to get done before school starts. But if it does not get completed by the time that school starts, we will be only doing work in non-school hours.
Do we think we have a good handle on the amount of abatement that'll need to happen?
Yes, unfortunately, there's always unforeseens that as we start to demolish things, but the majority of it is floor tile and some connections. But a full study was done, and we utilized that study for the abatement piece itself. So what I can't control is we open up a wall and there's insulation or other materials in there, but that will be assessed at the time, and we have construction contingency to cover those dollars in the event that were to happen.
Could you, Mr. Bauer, just go through, you don't have to go through verbatim, but just this document, board members, in the agenda, there is a document that is called Abrams Academy Update, and it's the one
that
you
was
had
it.
up
If
there.
you were there, you just go to the next sheet, please.
And so it's really small, obviously, but this is where they could find the very detailed list of exactly what work is gonna be done. And then could you just remind everybody what is depicted here and on the next page, just so they can use this document well?
Sure. So on the previous sheet, what this is a demolition. Okay, so what this tells the contractor, so everything in red is going to be demolished, and that includes the walls, the casework, the doors, so anything that's red and dashed. And then we have as a marker that then the spreadsheet above that kind of says, okay, so 1C, as examples, is to remove the ceiling tiles. 1A is to remove the grid and the tiles, or remove the lighting. So that gives the contractor the idea. Sorry, it's blurry. But that tells the contractor exactly what to remove and not. If you can go back to the floor plan, these are the areas. So this is going from left to right is going to be the conference room, the secure vestibule, the reception area. Then we have the lobby, a small portion of the collaborative room, which is going to become toilet rooms. If we keep moving to the right on the bottom side, those are the 3 classrooms, which are facing the street. And then as we go if you go up to the upper side of the plan, then you have the boys' toilet rooms, the staff toilet rooms, and then also the staff workroom. All of those spaces are intended to be as part of this project. So if you go to the very next sheet, those are just the ceilings to be demolished. If you go to the very next sheet, now this shows you what the floor plan is going to look like. So going from left to right, I said you see the conference room. So we're going to be doing new interior finishes. We have a new door. The secure vestibule, we're going to be replacing the exterior door and also adding a second set of doors. So that way we're creating a lock We have a door to go to the reception area. So that way the only place a person can go is from, once they're in the secure vestibule, they can go into the reception area, check in, say, hey, I'm here to pick up my amazing daughter. And then be able to check the student out. But I said the goal here is to prevent folks from going into places they don't belong. As we go up, on the plan, you see we're gonna rent.
Is that a door from the conference room to the vestibule? What's that thick double line?
So that was the door. So
I see.
yeah, so what we did is we're shifting the door up into the lobby space so that way that the only place a person can go is into the reception area. There's no other place without getting buzzed to go through the second set of double doors to go to the lobby.
Yeah, the double line just threw me a little bit.
Yeah, it's a fill-in of that existing door, and then we have the door access now is from the lobby, so that way staff and students, when they go to that conference room, they don't have to go through the secure vestibule to be able to get to that conference room. So the large group space, so we're gonna be adding the 2 single occupancy toilet rooms there along with the water fountain. And also replacing the door that goes into the multipurpose space. And so as we go to the right then, we are replacing the student door. So if you go down, Josh, if you go down just a little bit, that door right there was also requested to be replaced. So the door for the secure vestibule door, which we already talked about, is being replaced, and that is the access door for the students. That's where they enter in every single day. That is also being replaced. The doors is aged and needs to do that. So then we have the 5 classrooms. So on the right-hand side, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classrooms. All of them will still have natural daylight. All new interior finishes, flooring, ceilings, carpet, new technology, in those spaces. And then in the plan north then is that we have the two additional student toilets. And 2 staff toilets off of the workroom. So that large area there, just above the toilets is a space for, it's a conference room. The teachers can make copies in that space. And then they have their toilet sisters off that space. I don't wanna speak for staff, but probably some of the biggest positives of this is, again, we're taking 3 classrooms and making it 5, and they're sized appropriate for the number of students and staff that's gonna be in those spaces. And also that we're gonna have single occupancy student toilets. So one of the biggest challenges right now, we have 6 girls and 6 boys toilet rooms. But we don't want students to be able to be in the toilet room at the same time. So what this does is this creates a most ideal environment that students aren't gonna be sharing those toilet rooms. And each one of them, there's 4 of them now. So instead of having 1 at a time, now you can actually have 4 students that are going potty at the same time without having them share the space. Does that make sense as far as the scope so this is the most amount of scope that we can accomplish, which is very similar to what we started with as far as the creating more security. Well, again, the building is secure, but this is adding levels of security, creating individual toilet rooms and the 5 classrooms. That was our goal from day one. And the good news is that we've been able to do that now within our project budget.
And I don't mean to belabor this, but on the previous page, just because it's small for people that are watching, each one of those little triangles corresponds to one of those, I don't call it a work order, but just
Yeah, so an
one of
example.
those activities up there.
Yep, so an example is 4D. Okay, so 4D, if you go back to the lobby, Josh, if you can help me just scroll down. So see 4D is right there, you see 1C and then 4D in the lobby space on there. You go up just a little bit, left, right there. Okay, so that's a note in there. So now if you go back up to the spreadsheet, 4D then says, remove existing floor finish and residual adhesive in its entirety, prepare surface to receive new finishes scheduled. So those little nodes then tell the contractor, this is the expectation, as far as each of those spaces. So each of those spaces has individual markers, whether it's ceiling, whether it's roofing, walls, doors, and this is giving them the scope of work.
Perfect.
Mr. Bowers, I
Yes,
have a
sir.
question. Roughly, I think we knew one time how many square feet. Can you tell me how many square feet we're looking at? What
That
you're
we're
working with?
renovating, it's about 7,100 square feet of the building. And please, it's I think it's like 7,156, but it's in that range of the building.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Bauer,
Yes, sir.
what would you need from us tonight in order to facilitate us moving ahead and making sure that we have the best chance possible to finish by the fall.
So the good news is that this is already part of your CIP, so you've already allocated the funds for this project. And this request has not exceeded those dollars that we have allocated. So again, what we're asking is approval to move forward with package 1 and package 2. Okay, so and then we can, the designated person can sign those two documents, and we can give those proposals back to the contractor, and they can start work right away. So really, it's just a matter of saying, yes, package 1 and package 2, we're good with it, we can get them signed and get them back to the contractor.
And just to be clear, last month, they approved just the HVAC. The HVAC is included in package 1, and it will negate what they approved last month if they approve these two packages tonight, correct?
Yes, sir. When we were actually talking to two different contractors, and because we now consolidated this to one, they repackaged it into a different package. So what you did last month, this is not in addition to the $774,000 and the $613,000. That is now the entire project. So again, what happened last month, it's the same contractor, but it's a different package, so that we would try to keep this as clean. Instead of doing 3, now we're looking to do 2 package, which is fantastic.
So I've talked to Mr. Bauer, I've talked to Ms. Kreitzer. I don't see that the board needs to take any action to negate what you did. What you did last month was essentially authorize execution of a contract that now is not gonna exist. So I think you're fine that way. I just wanna make sure that's clear.
So one thing I noted, I want to make sure that we use the right numbers. So I've got a sheet of paper in front of me with numbers that we could use as motions. The first one matches. The second one doesn't match what's in page 1 of that document. So Mr. Gifford, could you open the Abrams Academy update, the top doc again? Yeah. Yep, just go to the top page. Alright, we have a number 613,394.39. Here, for number 2, I have 644,064.11.
Not sure where they.
I mean, I was handed it. Did it not come from you guys? Did it come from?
I think it did, I just don't know where that number came from. I would
So is this the
suggest that-
$30,000 of savings that we're talking about and having it repackaged? Then what is the 644 number?
644, I think, includes the license fee.
License fee, yes, the
And,
644
That did
is,
not get included on that front page.
yes, I did not include that on the front page, but yes, that it's 644,064.11 is actually the correct number. So we are still at the.
644,064.11.
Yes.
Because the differential is the licensing fee.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, that's.
Okay.
And it does not negate the $30,000, it's again, the $30,000.
And that can be packaged into the licensing fee can be part of the second motion.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm everything is aligned before we read numbers.
That's right, that should be 644, and you had those together.
Yes, I mistakenly put the wrong number on the front sheet.
I think in light of that, we need to go back to the other document, Mr. Gifford, the update, and just make sure that we're clear on these numbers.
So that's
774, yeah, the first one is correct, the second one I was incorrect on this sheet.
And the substantive difference is a licensing fee that just didn't get rolled into it.
Yeah, when I put them together, I just missed that licensing fee on this sheet, so.
Could you read me the whole number of the licensing fee? Or may I see it? 30,669,772. Okay, and they do sum total.
So the new figure, Mr. Gifford, if you go back to that update page, the new figure, instead of 1.387529, the new figure would be 1.418209. It's still,
Is that correct?
Yes, it's still, all the numbers still work out, it just means that we have less contingency and furniture number. So again, the total bottom number doesn't change, so.
Approved tonight.
what's that?
But they need to approve a package 1 and a package 2.
Yes,
That includes that 30,000, and so that new total of those 2 packages is 1.4, not.
correct, yes. Yeah, so as when I transcribe this on here, I just missed the licensing fee in the transcript of the front of the
So
first
the-
sheet.
The
we have-
86,619 for
We
contingency,
need to approve that too, don't we?
we would subtract the 30 from that.
Correct, or the furniture equipment, either,
Okay.
maybe we'll just split them between 15.
So the total project cost doesn't change.
Correct.
I intended to make two motions to approve 1 and 2 using the numbers. I wasn't going to provide a subtotal. Could we get a revised version of this document with the correct numbers in
Yes.
it to post after our meeting so that it's available for the public?
Yes, you'll have it tonight.
I just need to make sure they all line up.
Mr. Bowers,
One more time.
on this total contract, will the schools be presented with an actual finished schedule? I mean, like what goes on the floors, what's gonna be on walls, that kind of stuff? I'm just curious.
Yes, so
I've
that,
been in a lot of construction stuff, and normally they have a finished schedule, you know, what doors are provided, what windows, floor covering, hardware, that kind of stuff.
yeah, so the actual construction document package, we have that package, actually, Travis and other folks have reviewed that package. So yes, we'll give you, you already have a copy of the full construction documents. We're just not gonna present, we don't present that in a school board meeting, so. But yes, all, as far as the finish, which is LVT for the flooring, the paint, you know, all that information is available and has been provided, so.
You say Travis has it?
Yeah, we actually, that was part of the original package when we first did this project. All of that information was in that package. The only thing that's changed is a little bit of the spaces. You know, with like we had the alternates, we had the original ramp and things like that. Those were taken out in order for us to make the budget. But as far as the finishes, the interior finishes and surfaces, that has not changed on the project.
Could you all email the board a copy of the finishing schedule?
Sure.
Not a problem.
Do you have an estimated time? I know you said maybe by the time school starts, you don't really have an idea?
So there's a couple of factors that I don't have control over right now. One of them is the approval of the abatement, is that we still need EPA approval for that. And then also as the contractor's not gonna order any materials until we actually get a contractor from their hands. So within the next 2 weeks, I will have a full schedule, I just don't have it, you know, that right now they're saying they wanna get it done by the end of summer, you know, by school starts. I just don't have an actual formality of that until we actually sign a contract.
So that might give you 5-6 weeks before school starts. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So I guess next school board meeting, be able to come
Right.
back and.
I would be happy to, and at that point, we can also talk about the finishes, we can talk about the schedule, I'd be happy to, and we can also talk about the progress, how things are going with it, how things are going with the contract.
Thank you.
Is there anything else of interest that we could make sure that Mr. Bauer brings in July? Any other documents or?
I'm just excited about it. Super overdue.
Yeah.
Will we plan to have some kind of event for the community to see the new digs as they're finished?
Definitely should do that.
We certainly had public meetings to get input about the process and about the history of the building, so I think we should try to rededicate or honor the legacy there.
Agreed.
Ribbon cutting would be wonderful, you know, so after we get it all done and, you know, it's a great opportunity for folks to be able to walk through, you could do it in the afternoon, later in the afternoon, it'd be great.
Any more questions, board?
No, but Mr. Chair, in light of what we've seen today and the schedule, I'd like to add 2 action items to our agenda. So I move that we add action items 12C, approval of the updated Abrams HVAC project, and action item 12D, approval of the Abrams Academy restroom and lobby modification project as 12C and 12D later in the meeting.
Do I have a,
I'll second that.
all right, thank you for the second. All those in favor of that update, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Did everybody
I
vote?
do have a question.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did vote. Are we gonna add BSBA membership?
Yeah, we already
That was
did.
part of the
Yeah.
first agenda adoption, so VSBA will be 12B,
Yeah, 12.
these two will be 12C and 12D, and 12D will be inclusive of the licensing fee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer.
Thanks, Mr. Bowers.
All right, we on to public comments. Come to the time of meeting for public comments. I'll remind everyone that by policy, only members of the community, meaning residents of Fluvanna and staff of Fluvanna County Public Schools, may address the board unless you're a legal counsel representing the group interested in tonight's proceedings. We welcome all community members who are here to give information or opinions. We ask you to come to the podium, tell us your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. We'll start with the names. Anybody sign? If not, anybody's welcome to come to the podium and speak.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Crocker. I live in the Fort Union District. First, I want to take a moment to thank the board and staff for your hard work this year. School board service is often a thankless job, and I know how many long hours go into your decisions. I also want to recognize that these meetings feel so much better than they did a year ago. I love that you are taking time to recognize student achievements, and while there are some disagreements, you are starting from a place of respect and understanding, which has not always been the case. I'd also like to thank the kindergarten team for welcoming preschoolers to Central this spring. My son had the opportunity to visit Central, ride the bus, which was extremely exciting to him, and meet some teachers. And though starting a new school always comes with some nerves, he's feeling excited to go to kindergarten, and this trip helped ease his anxiety. With that said, I do want to raise a concern about transparency. Several months ago, the board announced a retreat that I planned to attend. I rearranged my work schedule and took time off so that I could be there, but at some point the meeting was canceled. If a public announcement was made about it, I missed it. And if no announcement was made, that is a problem. Members of the public who make an effort to follow the board's work should not have to guess whether a meeting is still happening. More broadly, I'm concerned about the board's practice of holding meetings in groups of 2, as well as meetings involving school board members and 2 supervisors. I understand that there are times when schedules are difficult to coordinate and issues arise between regular meetings, and I certainly don't expect every conversation to wait for a monthly board meeting. But what concerns me is, I deleted a bunch of stuff by accident. But what concerns me is when these meetings are planned in advance and with no announcement, because I know that it's not illegal, you don't go against the Public Information Act, but I wonder if it is in service of the goal of public trust and transparency. These meetings are regularly referenced during public meetings, but the public never hears what was discussed. When important conversations happen outside of public view, it creates the appearance that decisions are being shaped before the public discussion even begins. What makes this especially frustrating is that this board and administration spend a great deal of time talking about how much they value trust, integrity, transparency, and building strong relationships with the community. Those are values I definitely support, and I appreciate hearing them emphasized. But those values have to be reflected in how business is conducted. If these conversations are important enough to schedule in advance and important enough to reference later in public meetings, then they are important enough for the public to hear. If these meetings are truly routine and informational, then I would encourage the board to provide a public accounting of the topics discussed, or better yet, move more of these conversations into public meetings where families, staff, and community members can hear them firsthand. Transparency is about more than legal compliance. It's about public confidence, and I appreciate the progress that you guys have been making, and I hope that you will be committed to conducting as much of the public's business in public as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Gritz, we're on reports, 9A.
Thank you, Mr. Key. So if you look at the document where I have my reports, I'll just highlight some of the things that are under the third section, parent, community, student outreach, student activities. Just because there's so much in here, as there always is, but we've had some wonderful engagement with our community that have come in to help out with some projects. I referenced the pre-K visit to Central. I think that's a really positive thing, as was mentioned. Something that's not, well, there is a section in there and some wonderful pictures I'd encourage all of you to see with the Kidwind project. Obviously, you remember approving a trip to Wisconsin. And the kids, they didn't bring back a trophy, but their experience was exceptional. And I look forward to having Mr. Dronkowski and his team and those kids come visit us again to really highlight what they're doing. What began as just I remember 4 years ago, just an idea that we had with our partner that installed our solar panels to take advantage of an opportunity to expose kids to basically a STEM project has turned into a full-fledged, thriving club. And they're just doing amazing work, and the pictures are fantastic. What I didn't have an opportunity to put in here that I want to call your attention to, and I'll put it in my next report, but since I have it, I did not have it in time to put it in the report. A couple of months ago, I think, I called your attention to our TV production students, and they had submitted some of their documentary work to the VHSL competition, and we actually brought home, we had 2 state winners. Caroline Thomas and Alyssa Lewis. They created a film called A Cup of Hope, and it was awarded the best documentary and given the Audience Choice Award at the State Film Festival. So I'm very happy about that, and bring you more information about that next time as well. We're looking forward to the General Assembly, who give us an indication that they're going to be getting back together later this month, on the 18th, I think, to try to resolve some of the unresolved issues related to the state budget. We'd like to have all those resolved sooner than now, but look forward to whatever happens on the 18th. Do you have any questions for me? Or is there anything you'd like me to go over that I haven't highlighted?
So I think I'd like to address some of the small forum meeting bit just for a second. Can you speak to what, if any, meetings between Board of Supervisors and school board members are regularly held or discussed, and what the merit is of having 2-on-2 or 3-on-2 with our leadership in the room chatting? I don't know, this is on the spot, but just
It's fine.
in terms of I want to size to be transparent, I want to size how frequently this happens and who is generally in a room like that. And then 2, why we might find those constructive and in serving the public good.
Mhm. Well, in terms of actual scheduled meetings, regularly scheduled meetings, the only one that I think there is, and it's been intermittent.
At best.
It's a subcommittee, I guess you would maybe say. It hasn't been officially established, but it's the county administrator, the superintendent. We typically have included whoever's in charge of finance, not necessarily on the county side, because, well, I'm not going to speak for Eric, but it usually is Mr. Dahl, whoever the Board of Supervisors chair would be, school board chair, superintendent, and like I said, we usually have included Ms. Grasser would come.
And occasionally a second member from
Could be,
either of the
could be.
2 boards, but not always.
We've tried to do that with some regularity. The last, and I'm sorry, I'm being this is a little bit ambiguous, I'm not meaning it to be, but maybe my second year here, we did have monthly meetings.
I
think it
remember
was my
sitting with
second
Moselle.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
And we probably did that for 6 months or so. And then we didn't do it, and we tried to get them back. And they generally were designed just to give the county an opportunity to raise any questions they might have, and they usually were related to finance. They weren't designed to be that way, but it just seemed as though we wanted to have an opportunity to hear if there were things that we needed to pay more attention to in our meeting, if there were things that we needed to make sure that we addressed. It certainly wasn't ever an opportunity to make any decisions.
Do we,
But again, they've been very intermittent. I think we've only had maybe 2 since Mr. Key has been on the board. Does that sound accurate?
2 or 3.
Yeah, maybe 3.
and are these, is this an uncommon practice? Do other divisions that you've been in have a not quorum of both boards come together every now and then?
I wouldn't say it's uncommon. We did this in Middlesex County.
Mhm.
And it was pretty regular. And they weren't public meetings, but they were publicly scheduled.
Mhm.
When I came here, it wasn't going on, but I had, people told me that they had gone on. And so there was some sentiment on the board at that time for us to start it again, as I recall. So those are the ones that would be maybe regularly scheduled. And again, I don't feel like they're regularly scheduled right now. I think we'd like to see them scheduled that way.
They're pretty good, huh?
The last conversation we had about that, and this has been maybe more than a year, at that time, the desire was for those meetings to really coincide with budget season. That was a different board chair. Both board chairs were different. I don't know that that's necessarily the way this board would feel or the way that board would feel now. We haven't really talked about it since then. In terms of, you asked about like 2-on-2 meetings. Occasionally there are things that arise where we would feel the need to have board members interact with data, maybe interact with numbers to see information that they really need to have access to in order to be prepared to have a public conversation. It doesn't happen very often. Those are the only things that I can think of that I have pursued with you. And again, I think we've only done that maybe 2 or 3 times where I have invited 1 or 2 of you, never more than 2 of you, to come in and to talk with me and Ms. Suarez or in Dr. Stribling maybe. I think it really has only been related to, that's my best answer to your question.
No, I think it's fabulous. I'll note that I also am unafraid to pick up the phone and call literally anybody at this table. And I do think that it serves the public good and interest in that it gives me an opportunity to hear what other board members are thinking, to bat ideas about in a way, just based on being prepared for the public meeting. And clearly with any 2 members at a time, there's no binding decision making, there's no majority together. I do think it makes us stronger. I just wanted to give voice to heard, but also sometimes small working groups do further the public interest and make us better representatives. And so heard all around, I just wanted to poke at put some skin on what it is that happens when we get Mr. Dahl and Tony in a room with Andre, for instance.
And also me and Dr. Gretz meet monthly to discuss the agenda.
Yes,
Go
that
over
is scheduled,
school, that's scheduled every month.
the 2 of us.
Well, thanks for handling my questions.
Of
I know that
course.
you were, I did not give you notice that I was gonna ask that.
It's fine. Anything else from the report or anything else that I can address? That's all I necessarily have, but I'm happy to.
On the B,
635,000 meals during the school year. That's a pretty huge number.
And it increased pretty significantly.
70,000, I think, if I read correct.
Yes,
I mean, that's enormous.
less staff, more meals. They're really doing incredible.
And only getting what, $2.94 back reimbursement.
It's $2.94.
Yeah.
This is a chair who reads his packet.
Okay, policy updates. Ms. Kreitzer has created it's essentially a PowerPoint, some slides that we would just ask for some feedback. You don't have to give it real time, but you're certainly welcome to. Where she's basically summarizing what's gonna be in the packet. We're trying to streamline and categorize, if you will, rather than just kind of buckshot throw a bunch of policies at the board and the public at one time. So I'm happy for us to go through those slides, or just you can reference them and just let us know if that's helpful for you. And any members of the public that want to take a look at that and let us know if that's kind of helpful to set up, if you will, the round of policies that we bring in any given month. For these, with first reading, I wouldn't say that there are any in here that I think really demand a lot of specific attention from you in terms of us discussing it right now. I'm happy to discuss any of them. The only one I would highlight, I guess, Mr. Gifford, if you want to pull up IGAG, that second one. There's nothing controversial about this. It's just of all of the changes that I see, this would be the one that I guess would have the biggest impact. And that is just to add to what we're already doing here, the necessity. This came out of the most recent legislation, that we would be teaching kids not only about obviously drug and alcohol, tobacco awareness, but safe and responsible use of electronic devices, as well as the dangers of gambling. I can't tell you how we're gonna do that just yet. This policy, and I don't say that because it's gonna be difficult necessarily, I'm just mean, logistically, I can't tell you where we're gonna put this in the curriculum just yet, but.
Put it in probability theory.
This is first reading. By the time you pass it, I'll give you a little more information on that, but other than that, I don't see a lot in here. A lot of times the policies they're just changing the language, changing language to be maybe more inclusive or to be less specific with regards to gender or things like that. I don't see a lot of other changes. Are there any of you have you seen something in here that you'd like to ask about or talk about? And obviously between now and when you actually approve these next month, you can shoot me those questions and I can be prepared to answer those next month as well. I do appreciate Ms. Kreitzer putting that work in to do that. The policies that they send are they don't necessarily make sense in terms of how they are grouped together. So I think probably grouping them together in a way that makes a little more sense, makes them more accessible to the public and to you, I think would be very helpful.
Do we also have a schedule for the last time that we edited every policy, such that when we hit that 5-year mark, like it's flagged that we need to review or revise? Yeah, I just didn't, I mean, as I read these like silly AI footnotes that are in some of these policy documents, it strikes me that may be a very good job for an AI agent to go through and comb through our, it'll need human validation, but to come through when we've last approved a given policy number. I imagine that they exist and are dated and can be mined through the board docs as well, but I don't know that we have a trigger per se for when a policy times out because it hasn't been updated in some odd years.
Yeah, I'd be curious of how many policies we actually have, to go by. Some of those, like these on here, I've never seen before. And said they've been in effect since 1950, like the last one on here. About storage of firearms, I've never seen that.
Were you on the board that year?
Same.
No, not quite.
Be here all night?
That's new.
Yeah, I see that. But it says, legal reference Code of Virginia 1950. But yeah.
As amended.
That's a completely new policy.
Yeah, but that's referencing the Code of Virginia, not our policy, right? So that code.
Well, there's a policy now. Things that, used to be done at home, now they implement in the school, you know, but I know it's a different world we live in.
Some of these obviously come with the legislation. There'll be a policy implication, but there'll also be part of the legislation will direct, usually it's the Virginia Department of Education, but direct somebody to provide guidance to schools on how to do some of these things.
Sure.
In this case with KPA, there could be some sample notification that we get between now and when the school year starts. I haven't seen it yet, but in terms of what that might look like.
Meaning they may give us like here's a
template.
draft of a flyer that you can send home
Yeah.
to talk about gun locks.
That's everywhere now. I mean, I got asked 30 times when I had a newborn because you know how you go 15 times the first month, every single appointment, they're asked about firearms in the home, drug use, storage in the home, everything. It's everywhere you go now.
Any more questions about policy updates? Review of FY26 budget updates, Ms. Soares, Dr. Grips.
Josh, if you could actually pull up that other document, we're definitely actively working to close out FY26. We did receive updated calc tool for final state payments from VDOE. And so we're using that to finalize state revenue, continuing to process federal reimbursements, some other state grant reimbursements, just reconcile June invoices. We also have June payroll, July written in June, a lot of curriculum work and summer school payroll that's happening, reconciling health insurance. So all that being said, in July I'll have an update for final, because sometimes things still trickle in, but an update to present at the July board meeting just on fund balance and where we're at, but I'm happy if you have any questions about FY26. And then I know Dr. Gretz mentioned for FY27, we are eagerly awaiting the General Assembly and a state budget, hopefully by June 22nd, the end of this month. And then we did get notification for next year that we will have the school security officers, the 2 SSO officers. We did receive that grant award, and then we also received a new school safety grant award to support a position for a coordinator of school safety.
So we've been awarded that. Do we need to do anything with regards to the budget? Like, do we have to go back and ask for a categorical transfer or an amended budget line for that?
So in August, I'll do supplementals, but I was gonna wait till once pay, because I'm sure we'll have some other categorical changes. So once I have FY27 payroll all built out, possibly.
Gotcha. And then when will that job description ultimately be posted?
Probably pretty soon. It was included in my report, the draft. So if there are any, if there's anything we need to discuss, I think we would want to post that in the next couple of weeks. Now that we have the award, we just want to make sure that we have everything logistically worked out with our match.
How many years is the grant for?
It's just
I thought it was 2.
I know this next FY27 is the last year of the SSO one. That being said, it seems like sometimes maybe we'll extend it another year, but I can't remember if
I swear, I thought we said it was just a year.
I thought it was just a year.
It's weird, they would only give you a year.
You do all that work for
Yeah.
hire a director or a position.
So as we move to a world in which maybe some of the SSO roles are not grant funded, do we have a means of assessing or a rubric for assessing the impact that SSOs have in our buildings should ultimately those responsibilities, meaning the finance of it, come back to us? I feel like we should think a little bit about how do we assess or quantify the value that we're receiving versus the checks that we're gonna have to write. I mean, it'll be $100,000 to perpetuate those two roles post grant funding. So I wonder if we can start thinking, not about the people per se, right? Cause those have turned over, but like, what is the value add that we're receiving? How much do we think that we are taking off administration or making our kids safer? And so we can put that on a scale against the $100,000 we would have to ask the county for in
What about
perpetuity.
including that thought process and that succession planning into the job description of that coordinator, that role that's already grant funded, that's gonna, that
Oh,
we're
right.
in control of for the most part of how that job description looks. I know there's strings attached to that being grant funded, but have that as a
Year one
goal-
action item.
Yeah, a goal or action item for that position to report back at some point how this looks with growth in the future.
Do you think that it needs to be part of the job description in terms of like slowing down the hiring process, or can we just communicate it as an expectation?
I think just to communicate as an expectation, that's,
Hiring.
yeah.
Yeah, I would like to feel more informed when we get to ultimately a position where we may have to take a vote on that. I've been clear about, I never wanna ultimately fund, I never want this board to be responsible for hiring armed peace officers in our schools. It's something I feel very strongly about. We have a great relationship with our sheriff's office. These are not armed guards. This is different. But ultimately, if we're gonna ask for money, should these grants run out, then we gotta sort of like, we have to assess and audit against value.
My thought behind it is just, they will hit the ground running, have their thumb on the pulse of what's happening in that regard. I think that's who we start to look to for that and as an expectation.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
And then this is a 1-year grant for the,
I'm trying to confirm that. I have a hard time finding it.
Sean's point was correct in that like putting together the infrastructure and ultimately we will be lucky to have this grant funded position and to have somebody in place that can help us increase our safety and ensure that we don't have blind spots. But for that to then be a quick turn 1 year and then you're either picking up the bill or you're deprecating the position, it's a bit punishing.
I swear I remember that conversation. That was 1 year for some reason.
You're probably right. I was trying to confirm it. I just can't put my finger on it.
Hopefully we can find new sources of revenue for that. Should,
If they go away.
if they go away. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 9E, review 26-27 parent resource guide.
So each year, obviously, this is updated, and I'm sharing, Dr. Stribling has led this with our school-based teams. I'll call your attention to just a few things. Everything that's new or changed will be in red and or stricken in red. None of these are huge changes. I'm just gonna highlight them on page 13. And Josh, Mr. Gifford, you don't necessarily have to go to all these. We've included in this list on page 13 of basically things that, I think it's the next page. Yeah. Included pepper spray. That pepper spray has gotten a lot of attention right there at the bottom. So just calling your attention to that. Similarly, on page 15, you may have seen that school divisions are responding to the increased presence of caffeine pouches. They resemble the pouches, the nicotine pouches, the tobacco pouches, and so we are saying that students cannot have those at school. It's not because they have caffeine in them, it's because they look exactly like the pouches that have tobacco in them, and it renders the principal completely incapacitated to try to figure out which one is and isn't there.
So what, can I ask real quick, just because I'm curious, is the caffeine bit sublingual? Or does it have the same sort of like dip activation where it's cutting into the gums? What are these caffeine packets?
I don't know, to be honest with
Anyone
you.
know?
When you say what are they?
Like, yeah, the mechanism, so like,
chewing tobacco.
so it's cut,
You're
it's
swallowing, it's still ingesting.
ingest, okay, but does it also have the like fiberglass or whatever nonsense with the dip packets?
No, I would imagine that there's some sublingual.
Okay, so they're either swallowing it, which would be the same as like drinking a soda or a coffee or a Monster, and then sublingual, but they're not like carving into their gums or lips in the same way.
No.
A weird
They're
thing.
just super potent and concentrated as well.
And they're becoming more popular with kids, anyway.
Yeah, I remember Panera having a bit of a lawsuit with their highly charged lemonade or something, where someone who had a pre-existing heart condition ultimately died based on the amount of caffeine they injected. Are we talking about that kind of level?
I honestly don't know enough about them.
Does I imagine that our mental and behavioral health team has a better understanding of
They
what these are.
probably do.
This is all new to me. I didn't know there
It's
were new
somewhat
ways
new
to,
to me, yeah.
the amount of dumb things we'll do to our bodies, especially when our brains aren't developed.
But no, it's just super rapid absorption of caffeine. I mean, it's like a quick, remember like the Jet Alert pills that like are super
Oh.
potent and they wake you up early? It's that concept, right? It's a really
Yeah.
fast reaction.
It's asking
Especially
for-
sublingual, it misses the whole digestive tract, all that, and it just perks you up real fast. Not healthy,
No, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah,
but
and
also not the reason. The reason is because we don't know the difference
Well,
between
that-
the
that's-
real reason, right?
that's candidly the reason that
Yeah,
I,
go back to D after this.
I feel like it's important for us to just be real clear with parents that we're not gonna allow these.
Yeah.
The General Assembly recently passed legislation that enables school boards to restrict energy drinks. I don't know if you've seen that. Because of the impact of caffeine, so you have the ability on both ends to limit it because of the caffeine and also because, again, it just, I don't know how in the world anybody would enforce not allowing tobacco pouches if you do allow nicotine pouch, or, caffeine pouches.
Yeah, I think Virginia High School, they outlaw you having those energy drinks at it.
They did.
So will we start to see student cases involving energy packets, do you imagine? Or whatever we're calling these stupid things? Like, do you expect that we as a board will start seeing referrals, suspensions, and or multiple offenses related to caffeine packets? No.
I don't think you would see any more than you would see now, because something that, it would be a violation of tobacco. I'm just trying to think of a case that would reach the board.
Well, also, it would have to be repeated in order for us to get sort of long-term suspension on it. But like, are you guys gonna go out and test a packet to determine whether or not it's dip or if it's caffeine? What a burden.
I hope we don't have to do that. It's somewhat new in schools.
Yeah, I'm just poking because
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it until 90 seconds ago.
I understand. Yeah. There's quite a bit, there aren't substantive changes that I have seen. Ms. Valentine is here, but there's quite a bit of movement in the language around discipline with student with disabilities. That's all listed in there, it begins on page 28. I invite anybody to take a look at it. Page 38 is where you'll see the addition of gambling that we just saw as a result of that. And then the last thing I'll just say, the cell phone, our cell phone policy, the only change that we have as a result of the most recent change at the state level with the restriction of cell phones in schools is whereas before, bell to bell, the restriction was bell to bell. It was prohibited during instructional time. And what was left somewhat to school divisions to determine was the extent to which you would restrict it in non-instructional times, in the hallways, during lunch, things like that. The way that language was worded was such that you would, I can't remember the exact words, but that we would address use in non-instructional time in a way that limited disruptions to instruction. That's gone now. So what it says now is basically students cannot have phones, they can't possess them, they can't use them, they can't have them bell to bell, period. Can't have them in the classroom, can't have them in the hallway. Once the bell rings, so to speak, announcing the beginning of the instructional day until it ends. And that is reflected in here too. It's on page 16. But that's, I just wanted to call your attention to those things. This is a first reading. You'll take a look at it, and please let us know if you have questions. We'll come back in July. There's not a whole lot of change in here, obviously.
I imagine that one will take some addressing in early days to get the kids sufficiently onboarded for no cell phones means no cell phones. Is the expectation that they don't enter the building, that they stay in a backpack, that they're in a locker?
Off and away.
Off and away.
I think like a lot of things that have happened this way, once, our current 16, 17-year-olds who life is changing dramatically at school as a result of this. I think once our middle school students are in high school, it's just the way it is. They won't be here. I don't have anything to support that other than just my anecdotal disposition towards it. I think that's the way it's going to go. I think this went pretty well last year. I think most teachers that I've talked to and through our mechanisms with staff advisory, I think people have felt like this has been pretty positively handled.
My only other thing, just for food for thought, is on the instruction about gambling, electronic devices, adding that verbiage. When we talk about time spent, I think it's also super important to talk about safe usage. And just a safe usage of it, not necessarily time, but appropriate and safe usage. I've just having an interesting perspective through my career that cell phones are a catalyst to a lot of things that I just think long-term students don't think of. That the internet's forever. Like you put things on the internet, you send things over your phone, it's forever. It's just, if we're gonna look at curriculum to keep students safe, I think talking about appropriate and safe use of the device is just as important as the time spent using it.
Yes, I think you're exactly right. And frankly, I think that's probably the spirit behind that legislation. I think that's why they even created that.
How has some of this not become mandatory modules in like health classes? I imagine that. They have a lot to do.
Yeah.
They have a lot to do to, keep kids from getting pregnant and that kind of thing, of course. Like there's a lot on health and safety there, but it does seem like at some point these are gonna need to be.
Because DraftKings just got big, they haven't caught up yet.
That may very well be the way
Sports gambling on your cell phone.
The way this happens. The law was passed, we have to include it, the policy comes to you, and in the next month or two, we figure out what's the best way to deliver it.
We'll have to teach them to block r/Wall Street bets too. Because the amount of addiction and loss on that is obscene.
So do you have any questions for me about the resource guide?
Hey,
Again, you're not approving it, it's just,
Going back to D, did you cover everything in D? FY27 budget updates? I think we skipped over that.
we skipped it because we basically talked
Yeah,
about
that's
it
what I
in the
thought.
previous one.
Yeah.
We don't have
I just wanted to
anything
make
new to
sure.
say about
Okay.
it, but yeah, sorry, we should have been clear about that. There's really nothing more for us to say at this point until we have a budget. A state budget.
All right,
Are all the staff updated in the resource guide?
No.
No.
Probably not, yeah.
Okay.
And I can't see that, but just let me know. and I'll
Testing
make
and
sure it's
accountability.
checked. That probably won't be there yet.
Yeah.
Is it not?
It's Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just about, we have some staff moving about. I just wanted to see if we need to,
During weekly meetings.
Mhm.
and Abrams, that stuff, so we're constantly being updated.
Mm.
And amazing, we had to cancel some stuff for now, so that will definitely change with July.
yeah, thank you. Just for clarification, I just saw some staff names and positions that aren't quite aligned with changes that we've made in the very near term. And so as all of those get announced and shifted and all of that, I imagine we'll just update.
Like all the red lines out,
Okay. It's really useful, thank you, Ms. Cranton.
On the 10A unfinished business, school board retreat rescheduled date. So I think it's good for us to probably look at a date in August towards the end. Dr. Grace, you want to talk a little bit about the retreat, kind of what we talked about, what we can
Sure.
maybe look at as far as facilitating the
Absolutely,
retreat?
absolutely. So I had offered to Mr. Key, I see, and this is just my feedback for you, I see a couple of things, maybe overarching topics that the board can consider for something like this. And they're related, but I do think they could be handled maybe individually too. One would be the original design, at least that I had, for requesting a retreat when I first came, was for us to talk about where we're going. What's our vision for the schools? What's our strategic plans gonna look like? We have a plan in place, but let's revisit that. Let's take a look at it, make sure it reflects everything that, as the board has changed. So that's one direction for a retreat, is strategic planning, if you will. Maybe that's the category. Another direction would be for the board to have an opportunity to revisit the norms that really haven't been officially revisited. You do a code of conduct every year. You approve a code of conduct. But there are norms that I think maybe 2019 was the last time they were finalized. Meaning, how are we gonna do business as board members? How do we want to handle talking to the media? How do we want to, how do things get added to the agenda? Just even simple little things. Not because there's a problem necessarily, but it can be healthy just again, as the board changes and there are new people, for you to be able to have that dialogue with each other, how you wanna do business. That was just my suggestion. I know a couple of people I had offered to Mr. Key who, obviously the VSBA does trainings, but there are individual people who conduct those kinds of trainings. Roger Collins is one who actually used to work in Fluvanna. He was principal at the high school at one time. He's a retired superintendent. So there are facilitators that I would recommend if there are specific people that you all would want to do that. I just offered that for you all to think about. And whether I suggested to Mr. Key just to think through, if you want to do both, is that something that you would have the bandwidth to do in a day? Or is that 2 half days? Is it one that you do in the fall and one that you do in the spring? Just food for you to chew on and discuss.
Sorry, can you lay out the 2 dimensions again? So one is sort of like norms, ways of working, and our like.
It's just the revisits already on the school page, so we're just revisiting those.
If you, Mr. Gifford, if you go to the main school board page, I think that's where they are.
And then the second component is the. Oh, I'm not
So
sure.
if you go to agendas, thank you, and on the right, you see the third document down there under documents, norms and protocol. This is just an example, it's what you had in place. This is more related to how you do business.
Yeah.
How you communicate, how you do business together, how you get things done. this feels more to, I wasn't here when this was done with you, but this feels more almost like a charter type document.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't vote on this document ever, so it predates me as well.
It's just an example. So one would be strategic planning,
Mhm.
one would be norms, protocol, the way we do business. Now, I don't know if you have feelings about,
In your experience, when having board retreats, do they generally touch on both dimensions, or?
I am more experienced participating in retreats that are more related to strategic planning.
Mhm.
That's not me saying that one is more important than the other. I think, the norms and protocol are helpful when someone's run into challenges together. When there's no challenge, there's no need for them. But it's when you feel the lack of them, when you run into.
But it's like a policy, you wanna have something in place, so when something happens, we all know how to operate.
I think these, and I'm not minimizing the importance, and in fact, it's a great thing that we're talking about. I feel like the norms and protocols are things that become the third rail when members aren't getting along, and so they don't get addressed and they don't get updated because people are chippy. And they're the things that you don't need, that aren't quite as important when you're starting from a place of respect and shared vision. So the fact that we're talking about updating them is a sign that this board is communicating well together. Having the strategy discussion, it does, both of them feel important, whether or not, I guess we could do them in an 8-hour day, but it would be, I feel like it might be a long day, but I'm also down for that.
I think depending on how you're able to reach agreement on some of these things, I don't know that norms and protocols feels like a full day.
No.
Right. Yeah, so it's whether or not
even
we
a half
can,
a day.
Yeah.
right, it's whether or not we can spend a couple hours base level setting and then do the strategic work in the same day or session.
So you think, board?
I've got military commitments towards the end of August that's gonna be tough for me, so.
What's your dates that you got?
24th on.
Okay.
I mean, is sometime in advance of the last week of August an option? Like, could we do it in August earlier?
I think it'd be good to do it just before we get busy running into the new school year and everything. Is there a time the first week of August for anyone? That doesn't work? I know you're starting to get real busy with school starting up.
I was thinking first
Oh, I'm
week,
sorry,
you got-
for me?
Sorry, there was a question about whether or not the first week of August might work and whether or not that's timely,
Yeah,
given
so-
sort of the ramp up.
School start.
When is the? off the top of my head.
What's the first day of school this year?
School starts on the 13th. The first week of August is a busy one.
Yeah.
Is that right?
12?
12,
Teachers.
come back on the 3rd.
Yeah, no,
Teachers are back on the 3rd. I probably have a lot more flexibility. There are a couple of things during the pre-service week and everything that are non-negotiable for me. I have to be at them, but
About the week of the 17th.
I can make that work. Earlier in the week, the better, as I'm wrapping up a full-time job, to not be there for almost a month. So. But I can make it pretty much any day. Let me just double check my car calendar.
Is this gonna be an 8-hour day?
I would say
6 hours?
probably 6 hours.
Like a 9 to
3.
9 to 3.
School days.
Hopefully it'll finish up earlier, but we'll see.
if I don't wanna muddy the water, but if you're avoiding the first week of August on my behalf, I do have flexibility that week. I couldn't do Friday, but there are open houses, if that works for the school board, I'm probably able to make arrangements to do that, if that is a good week for you.
Do you folks have Monday, the 3rd of August open and available? And your calendar as well, Dr. Gus?
Monday, Tuesday.
Mhm. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday would all be,
We got Monday open.
Does Monday work for you, Mr. Rittenhouse, Mr. Yeah.
That's the third, you talking the third?
Yeah, August 3rd.
Yeah, August 3rd will work for me.
Will work.
It will work.
That's fine. 9 to 3.
Yep, August 3rd, 9 to 3.
And so it'll be a called meeting, so that means that that's open to the public, right? And do we know sort of like where we would ultimately meet? Would that be here, or do you tend to want retreats outside of the boardroom?
I think that's totally up to you all. Our leadership team has done it a couple of different ways. This year, due to cost, we decided to be at the middle school. We can turn one of our school first week on Monday, I can't, excuse me.
No.
It'd be tough.
We could do it here. We could see if the library was available, if you wanted a space like that. We've done retreats at, not the bistro, what's it called?
It's Bunker
the lake.
Bistro,
But
Yeah,
the
the clubhouse.
the clubhouse.
clubhouse, yeah, both of them. I think it depends on what you envision, and we can, there are places outside of the county that we've used.
That would put a burden, so you guys are not beholden to public attendance and all of that.
Sure.
Moving it out of the county, I think, really doesn't really promote others
Yeah,
from being able
no,
to attend,
understood.
so I would not do that.
So I think it would be, we'd either be looking probably at one of those two spaces in Lake Monticello.
Hmm.
They would come at a cost.
It's about 4.
I'm assuming,
It's about
they have for us.
$4 for the day, I think.
And the
The top.
food, what I remember is that you have to use them for meals, and that's where the cost really gets.
Not the lakeside, not the clubhouse, right there, the main beach, you don't have to use their food.
So the alternative is though that we could just do it here.
Here, the library, if the library is available. And there may be some other spaces I'm not even, yeah, well, we've used, for FLDP, we used the firehouse over here. Right next door.
They got that.
Yeah, I mean, we did the
Big
social,
meeting space.
yeah, we've done that before.
So I think there are a lot of
Places,
options.
there's a couple of different rooms that you could use at Camp Friendship, talk to them. I mean, there's places.
So it's just about whether being out of the boardroom per se is like, has merit.
Do you wanna be in a space where we can all sit around a table, or do you wanna be in this configuration? That's probably the question.
Just not the Morris room. Anywhere but the Morris
Yeah,
room.
not the Morris room. It's the worst room.
It's-
I'll
We use
tell
it for
you,
everything.
there is not a lot of free space in, yeah, I guess the Mars room is hard, but you know, any open room some days in this county is great. We just don't have a lot of public space.
Think about the Fluvanna Rec Center too. You have that huge auditorium when you first walk in.
Is that where Ms. Booker's reception was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
that,
at Fort
I was
Union,
just
right there?
thinking that, that's a great space.
Can we leave it to the chair to pick a venue in the interim and then we'll get it posted when we've got that finalized?
Cup of Joe, yes.
Cup of Joe.
All right, so
It's a solid one.
we have a day. So we'll just.
We have a day and a time.
Yeah.
Any feedback for me in terms of someone you would like to facilitate this?
You said Roger.
I'm not asking for
You
names.
said Roger
necessarily.
Collins, you said Roger Collins, right?
Roger Collins is somebody who I would recommend, certainly. I think he would bring a lot to the table and,
I don't think it's a bad idea to have somebody from the outside that has perspective to help guide conversation. It's not,
He's
he's not driving it, it's just guiding it, you know,
He's familiar with
with
us
Fluvanna specifically. Right?
and being a superintendent and all that stuff.
And it leaves you a little bit to just participate more and versus you driving the conversation.
Anthony, was
which
he
I'm happy to
principal
do
when we
if
were
you'd like me to
He's
do it.
principal.
there? Yeah, when we were at school.
Yeah, that. I to him in middle school, I don't know, that was so long ago.
I guess he'll let us know.
But I think that'll be good because his perspective of how he did things and how he envisioned things and how you envision things and how you look at things, I think that'll be great.
So maybe the next step would be for me to arrange, I could have him come in and have a conversation with Mr. Key and anyone else that,
So that being said, let's pick another date just in case that date doesn't work.
We wanna look at the 17th,
Yeah, that other Monday.
2 weeks from that date, or either one of those dates.
That sounds fine to me too.
So the 17th.
Just checking.
Cause you said a week before, the week after that, you can be gone.
Yeah, I leave the 23rd technically, so it's
First week we're
fine.
looking, so either the 3rd or the 17th.
Works for me.
So the 3rd or the 17th.
Yeah.
All right, on the action items. A, approval of Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV applications. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the recommendation for Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV applications.
Thank you.
It's in our packet.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Rittenhouse, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Brennan, do we have any further discussion? All those in favor of approval of Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV applications, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, on the 12B, VSBA.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve an invoice in the total of $6,737.45 to pay for the VSBA membership invoice.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse, for that second. Trying to get the total, it's here somewhere. All those approval of VSBA membership invoice, $6,737.45, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. On the 12C.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the updated Abrams Academy HVAC project in the amount of $774,145.13.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Evans with a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm gonna discuss just a little bit. There's a lot of undetermined things going on. We haven't seen a contract, which I understand not having a contract till you get approval. So for that reason, I won't vote for it, or I'll abstain on it.
Okay.
Abstain is a no vote.
So all those in favor of approval of, I guess, Project A, right?
Approval of the HVAC project.
Yeah, approval of the HVAC project. Please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Ernest, did you want to abstain or vote no?
No.
No.
No, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. All right, so, got my agendas everywhere.
I got you. So are we on 12D?
Yeah, it's on 12.
Great. Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I'd like to move that we approve the Abrams Academy 6 single occupant restrooms and lobby modifications project in the amount of $644,064.11. Included in this final amount is a licensing fee in the amount of $30,669.72. Again, that is inclusive in the total amount.
Is there that was a motion, right?
Mhm.
Is there a second?
Aye, second.
Was there a second or you just think?
Oh, no, so I'm sorry. I'll write some notes down, I pay attention.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Brand, for that second. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, just real quick, I get what Mr. Rittenhouse is saying, but I also get that we gotta move the money to where it's gotta be to get the wheels rolling, so, at some point, I do start to expect to see updates and things and contracts in place, and I'm excited to see it, but I'm still voting yes, I absolutely wanna see it, I just need to start to see something at some point in the near future.
And for the
Could I
record,
just clarify?
there was a few errors in numbers.
Right.
And I also think Mr. Bauer said in July, next month, he would have more.
Yeah, he's gonna come to our next school
Stuff
board
too,
meeting,
so.
give us an update,
Hopefully with some
progress.
pictures or something,
Yeah.
and get excited about it, I love that.
And hopefully we'll have a deadline and a date for a ribbon cut that we can let the community know.
Andre wants to hold the big scissors. Still just look like normal scissors?
Yeah.
Mr. Bauer, the two documents that are in the agenda are in fact contracts. They're in place. The first one you just voted on is a 42-page contract. Just wanna make sure the board is aware.
And so
The
per our
super
earlier
tech fund.
discussion, if Dr. Gretz were to send over like the finishing documents, so you all can see some of that information, does that help rectify some of the concerns?
Yeah, I think
It's just indigestion that it's just big numbers and we're just not seeing anything yet, which I 100% get the process, I just,
Want to see it.
I mean, it would scare you to see when that money went into the coffers for this project.
yes,
This
also
is,
true.
this is great progress.
No, I understand that.
all right. All those in favor of approval of Abrams Academy 6 single occupant restroom lobby modifications, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed?
Yeah, along for the same reasons, I vote no.
Thank you. All right. That's all the action items. We're on to public comments. Is there anybody want to come down for public comments?
I was gonna come talk.
Mr. Bauer.
All right, seeing nobody coming down to the podium, on to 14A school board member comments. I'll start with Mr. Evans.
Yeah, before Mr. Bowers left, I wanted to thank him for, the updates. I think it's always well to go with one company instead of going with multiple companies. I always think that's a good idea. And I'm looking forward to seeing his updates in July. Ms. Kreitzer, thank you for, working on, the policy updates. Appreciate that. Ms. Soares, thank you for, working on, what you work with the FY26 and the upcoming Y27 stuff. That's it.
All right, Mr. Brennan.
Similar sentiments, thank you to everybody who facilitates everything that happens. A lot more than just the second Wednesday of every month, right? Ms. Kreitzer, thanks for always keeping me in line, I appreciate it. But again, super excited about Abrams, I know that's been a long time coming. Graduation was amazing, it was awesome to be part of that for the very first time from this stance, especially not having to direct traffic. I know I told most of you it was great. Finally don't have to stand out front in the rain and direct traffic for graduation with the sheriff's office, but so awesome that for me, my whole time on the road, that was that graduating class. So the almost 12 straight years that I've been working at the sheriff's office in law enforcement, to see so many names I recognize from so many great encounters over the years, or being in the schools and meeting them or walking around with school resources. It was so great to hear so many names that I recognized. Seen a bunch of staff around the county since school is let out. They are all smiles, they're having fun. The weather's been beautiful, it's been awesome for them. And I just, some sentiments from public comments is that I do appreciate this board. I think that we all work together really, really well. We all may not always agree on things, but I really appreciate the respect and really good discourse that goes back and forth on almost every topic, so.
Thank you. Mr. Rittenhouse.
Yeah, like Mr. Brennan said, I thoroughly enjoyed the graduation. I saw a lot of people that I knew and teachers and staff and maybe I didn't know the students, but I certainly knew their parents. Anyway, I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud about the Abrams Academy. I went to Abrams when I was in the 8th and 9th grade, and it's needed work for a long time. It needed work then, but I would bet you money that in the end they're gonna come back and ask for more money, because you can't work people on in nights and weekends for the same amount of money. But anyway, and we don't have an end date to when the thing's gonna end. They won't get it done in 6 weeks, but that's just my thoughts on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. Dr. Kelly.
I'll echo largely everything that was said here. I'll note that I am least comfortable when our students aren't in our building, and I will be excited to have them back in when we know that they are cared for and fed and in good shape and all of those. And I am hopeful that we have a rather quiet and uneventful summer collectively, and that we give our staff and our leadership the support they need to prepare our buildings and our staff for the next year.
Yeah, I'll just echo what everybody's basically said. Graduation, though, was fantastic, being that was inside. I believe, felt like inside it was a better up close in person graduation. And happy to see that the spring sports had finally ended. I know there was a lot of fantastic finishes towards the end of the season. I know there was a lot of track finished up last Saturday. A couple people placed, won a few state championships, so it was fantastic to see that kids finish the school year on a good note. Even, being a senior, still representing Fluvanna 2 to 3 weeks after school was out. That's pretty good. That means we're doing a good job educating our kids. And also, I just want to say thank you to the board for electing me as chairman. It was a fantastic honor to have my name on my kids' diploma. So thank you. All right.
That thing's going up in your house, not his dorm room, right?
Yeah.
Right above the mantle.
Yeah, his classmates did tease him that maybe in 20 years he'll be the school board chairman.
You think you'll be ready to retire then?
I don't know. On the 15A, we got some VSBA newsletter upcoming events. Just keep looking at that. And 15B, for Lincoln Public School press release, upcoming events. Just be watching for the back to school events that's going to be coming up very shortly. On the 16A, adjournment of the meeting. I will entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Brennan. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.